Hey guys, welcome to the Week 7 G.U.H.L recap. It's also the midway point of our regular season. So on top of briefly recapping the week, we're going to take a look at some fun stats that have made the league look the way it does. So let's go ahead and take a really quick look at Week 7. So our game of the week was Casey versus Ethan. And Casey held on to a lead that he had pretty early, but Wink was definitely making it interesting throughout the entire matchup. But Casey held on with a final score of 130.92 to 125.72. And our game to watch this week was Ryan versus Ethan, and Ryan had no issues securing the win in this one. He had the lead pretty early on, and he never looked back. Final score of 139.46 to 107.06. Stud! And dud! Of the week! Our stud this week is Alex, and he made me look like an absolute moron. Dude dropped 179.16 points on me this week, which was his highest scoring point total of the season. Screw you, buddy. Our dud of the week was Sydney, and she had a pretty uncharacteristic week, only scoring 87.6 points. I have no doubt that she will bounce back from this, even though none of us want that to happen. So our game to watch for next week is going to be Wink versus Alex. These two have extremely high scoring potential, and I predict an absolute shootout against these two, especially with Alex's performance this past week and Wink pretty steadily scoring a lot of points. So, our top scoring player this week was Tyler Lockett. The wide receiver for the Seahawks apparently had every single pass thrown his way. He scored 53 points for Alex this week against me. Our top bench player this week was Joe Burrow. The rookie quarterback for the Bengals is definitely proving he is a number one pick. He had 33.64 points on the bench for Ethan, but it would not have made much of a difference in that game, though. He started Tom Brady, and he scored a little bit more points. Our top scoring free agent this week was Justin Herbert, and he's been proving to be an excellent rookie as well, and honestly a little surprising to me. I wasn't really too confident in him, but he had 38.48 points this week, and he seems to be getting better as the season goes on, so he could be a good pickup for a backup quarterback. So our pickup of the week was yet again a kicker. It was interesting. Alex picked up a Tyler Bass kicker for the Bills, and he had 21 points against me. Have I mentioned yet that I'm a little mad at Alex? I feel like I haven't said anything. So our fun fact this week is the Eagles are the first team since the AFL-NFL merger in 1970 to be leading their division at this point in the season with only 2 wins. That division is trash. All right, that's all I've got right now for Week 7. If you're interested in the full recap for Week 7, as well as the full mid-season recap, you can find that in the description of the video. So feel free to check that out if you'd like. But otherwise, let's take a look at how the season has shaped up so far. This season has been really up and down for a lot of us, and honestly, I love it. I don't think there's a clear-cut winner just yet, and I think any one of us could pull out a win. But let's check out some stats that have shaped the season, as well as possibly being indicators of how we'll finish. So each one of us has had some pretty huge performance by our players. Some of us have had better performances than the rest, though. So let's take a look at our top 3 scoring players of the season so far. At number 1 for the season is Tyler Lockett. Alex has gotten a lot of solid games out of him this year, but decided to have his best game against me, probably for personal reasons. He had 53 points in Week 7, and he secured an easy win for Alex. And at number 2 is Aaron Jones. The running back for the Packers showed out for Wink in Week 2, scoring 45.6 points. This also helped Wink secure his highest point scoring total of the season. So, Wink, trade my kicker for him. And at number 3 is Alvin Kamara. Per usual, Kamara is a top scoring running back in fantasy. And in week 3, he dropped 44.7 points for CC. He's definitely a huge reason as to why CC is one of our top scoring and most dangerous teams in the league. We'll see how else he can help her, though, for the rest of the season. Alright, so I did compile a list of our top bench players for the season, but all but one of them had zero impact on the games that they were in. So if you want to check out the list, it's in the description, but it really just wasn't interesting enough for me to share. So this year, it seems that anyone can beat anyone at this point. We've all had some really strong point scoring performances, but there have been 3 that stood out from the rest. So here are our highest scoring team totals of the year so far. So our top scoring performance this year goes to Wink. He had 181.7 points in week 2, so do not fail to take him seriously in your matchups against him. He is always capable of a point total like this. At number 2 was Alex. He had 179.16 points in week 7 against, well, you know. At number 3 was Ethan, and he had 164.24 points in week 6, and he has also remained a top scoring team this season. So watch out for these 3 when you play them next. So top scoring performances doesn't necessarily translate to being a top scoring team. So let's take a look at our top scoring teams by average. At number 1 right now is Cece. She is averaging 140.06 points per game, which is crazy. Watch out for her. Number 2 is Alex with 137.93 points per game. His recent game skyrocketed him up, though, to that number 2 spot because just last week he was 6th in points per game. But that doesn't mean you should take him lightly, as he is obviously capable of huge games. And at number 3 is Wink. He's sitting at 136.47 points per game, and he typically sits right around that point total in most of his games. So when you play him, just know that you're probably going to need to score at least that much to have a chance at winning. So another important aspect of how we sit in the standings is how many points get scored against us. Here, I'm actually going to talk about the lowest averages, but I would implore you to compare the full list with the full points per game list when you get a chance. It's pretty interesting. A little sneak peek. David, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The team with the fewest points per game scored against them with 121.76 points per game is Cece. That's right. She has the highest points per game and the fewest points scored against her per game. Not a good combo for the rest of us. And number 2 follows suit. Alex has the second highest scoring team and has the second fewest points scored against him. We only score 122.76 points against him. So let's give it our best shot against these 2 if we want to have a chance to win the league this year. Alex, I'm still mad, by the way, about week 7. Still mad. And the team who has the third fewest points scored against them is Sydney, as we only score 122.88 points against her. And I'm willing to bet that she hopes that continues for the rest of the season. All right, so looking at the app right now, we have 4 teams that are in current position to be in the playoffs. And they are Ryan, Alex, Cece, and Wink. So in my mind, these 4 are the teams to beat. But I've taken a look at a lot of info, and this has led me to a new segment called Bold Predictions. Wow. My bold prediction is that Marissa or Casey will make the playoffs. Right now, they have the 3rd and 2nd highest points per game against them. Something has to give there, especially in fantasy football. Both have really strong teams still, and if we fail to continue scoring like this against them, they could easily make it into that playoff spot. My bolder prediction is that David will finish the season with 3 or more wins. It's gotten to the point where it basically looks like playing against David is a guaranteed win. But I strongly urge you to not keep this mentality. David in recent weeks has been improving, and it doesn't help his case that we seemingly all have our best scoring performances against him. He has the highest points per game against him, with us scoring 133.39 points per game. So watch out for David to steal some games away from us, as I can't imagine we're going to keep that up for the entire year. And my boldest prediction is that Cece or Alex will win the league. These two have the top 2 points per game averages. And on top of that, they have the lowest points per game against them. Exactly what you want in fantasy football as a team owner. If this continues, one of these two will be winning the league this year. And that's it, everyone. I really appreciate you taking a little extra time watching this one this week. But I was really excited to share with y'all how our season is looking so far. And you guys are making it more and more fun each week to make these videos. But stay tuned for next week's recap. And as always, don't forget to set your lineups. Until next time.